Good morning, folks. You're all very welcome. I see some of you are very keen this morning and ready to get going and have joined a little bit early. So our official start time is 10 o'clock, and we're going to let a few people come into the room. So as I say, you're all very welcome. I hope it's a bit warmer where you are. It's a bit chilly here with me this morning, but it is the winter, so that's what we should expect. So it's all good. So yeah, I can see numbers starting to spill into the room this morning. So we just give them a little bit of time. I'll probably end up repeating myself here, but for those that I've met already and spoken to already, nice to see you again. And for those that I'm meeting for the first time, Breen is my name, and looking to take you through a quick session here this morning. And give you the information that you need. So just in terms of a little bit of housekeeping, if we can, we have a chat function down below at the bottom of the screen, typically. So just in terms of audio and everything, if you can hear me okay, if you just drop a message in there and let me know that you can hear. Well, somebody from Portugal, then I guess it's probably a little bit nicer. And Cork is in already. Cork is in at 10 o'clock, which is always great to see. So that's good. That sounds like and we're up and running and everybody can hear me okay. Ongoing during the session, there is a Q&A section at the bottom. So if you want to drop in your questions there, we can look to answer those at the end. There's been a great response of questions in advance. So I'm going to work through those after we go through the slides that we have here. But if you have any questions during the session, if you want to pop them in, I'll do my very best to cover them off in the session. And if I don't get to finish them out, then what I will do is come back to you and follow up afterwards. So now there's nearly double the amount of people in the room than there was when I started talking. So listen, you're all very welcome. Breen is my name, and looking forward to our session today. And just to move through some of the slides here. So in Great Place to Work, and this is very important for us. We believe that any organization can be a great place to work and can build a great culture, and it's our role and our mission to help you do that. For a lot of our clients joining us the first time, they really are engaging like you are today to find out about certified and other recognitions. And Great Place to Work is a whole lot more than just recognition. We are a thought leader and a community of shared knowledge, which we deliver through blogs and podcasts. This image here is around our Red Q podcast, which has been really well received in our own Great Place to Work community and the wider community as well. Most recently, we had Mary Gallagher. She's the Employee Success Business Partner at Salesforce, and she spoke about building team collaboration and building ownership and responsibility within teams. A really, really good session with Paul and well worth the listen. The next piece, or the next one coming up, is due for release in December 12th, I believe, and that's going to be with Woody's, a long time client and partner of Great Place to Work, and have a great story to tell. And we have a great infographic around their experience as well. And then, very excited about this, we have the Employer Branding Summit coming up in January 31st. So not long to go now, folks. So I suppose it's about 8 weeks till the end of January. We've had the employer branding for a number of years now, and it's really, really built up to be a very strong event. And I suppose that's, it shows the importance of employer branding to our clients. So there'll be some great stories. You can see the brands that are listed here already. Core are going to kick off, I know, with the importance of building a strong brand as a corporate brand, and then the link of the employer brand to that. But we're also going to hear from Hilda in DHL, Meg McLean, who's the Chief People Officer in Lidl Ireland, focusing on widening your talent pool. So that's important for every organization to see how can you do that to build your talent pool. There'll be some panel discussions, one with TU Dublin, who've been a long supporter of us in selecting the most trusted leader every year, and also our own Marina, who is marketing and brand manager of Great Place to Work Ireland. Both will host panels, and we'll also have some case studies in there. So you can see we'll have Lady Dog, and we'll hear from Genesis and Goodbody, and Flutter as well. So a really, really great event. I should say epic, because it's going to be in the Irish Emigration Museum, 31st of January, and booking is open now, and it's booking strongly. So for any organisation on the path, I would encourage you to take the time for that day, and really get the value from that session. So bear with me now, a little bit of a mouse issue. So today, the reason that you're all here is really to find out about being recognised as a great place to work, and doing that in 2024. So in the agenda today, I have some headlines here, and what I'd really love you to leave with is absolute clarity around what the process looks like. So in terms of recognition, certified is that first step. So why would you engage in this process? What does the process look like, and the key steps, and what exactly is that standard? I'll be calling that out. Then we'll have a quick look at what other best workplaces recognition opportunities are there for you, touching lightly on the action planning sessions that we deliver and what feedback looks like, and a little bit on insights. And then, as I said earlier, and some of you were in the room, I know, when I was talking about that, around questions and answering those questions, we've had a really strong response in terms of questions asked already around the time it takes, what resources are involved, cost, confidentiality, how you go about sharing results. So I'll cover some of those as we go along, and I'll revisit them at the end as well. So I know we're going to have a quick poll pop up here for you, which is always interesting to see. And this is, do you believe you work in a great place to work? So if you could just select yes or no, it's a simple choice. If you could just select one there, that would be great. And that will start to fill in, and wow, what a great score. So 96% of you in the room today believe that you already work in a great place to work. And you know, that's inspiring to me, that people feel that strongly about your workplace and that you're paying that much attention to it. And it's a good indication when we think about organizations that we work with. A lot of them will, you know, it is self-selecting, and they will believe that they are in a great place to work. And oftentimes a colleague within the workplace will nominate their workplace, and we'll get in touch and start to take the steps from there. So that's great. And if you feel you're not a great place to work yet, absolutely, we engage organizations there as well in terms of what we pay attention to and what we work around, and that's what the day is for. So first of all, why would you do this? Why would you involve yourself in Great Place to Work? Why would you engage? This is what our clients tell us all the time. This is what we hear back from our clients. And for a lot of them, it's around talent and that talent pool, and increasing that. And the clue is in the name, Great Place to Work. It's about people working for the organization, whether that is in the private sector, public sector, or charity. It's about people delivering for the strategy and for the organization. In terms of competitive edge, it's an opportunity to tell your employer story and to highlight that you are an employer of choice. In terms of returns, we have the data and the stats mostly out of the US, in terms of financials and performance for the business. Benchmarking is more local, and this is where we help organizations using local benchmarks and understanding your data and how to activate that and how to actually move that forward. So in terms of certified and how it works, it's a really, really simplified process now. At the core of what we do in Great Place to Work and in recognizing great workplaces, we have the Employee Experience Survey. The official name is the Trust Index Survey. So there's a range of statements in there. And we are launching that survey from Great Place to Work to all your people, and we're inviting everybody to respond. So that's one piece. And then the other piece is a brief document about your business, which you complete for us, typically HR, but if you don't have a HR department, don't worry, it doesn't take very long. This document is a captive and will actually give us the information that you want us to share when you are certified. How would you like to profile your organization? So we have two polls this morning. I think we're going to jump into the second poll here, and I'm just interested to see how many organizations actually survey already, because some of our clients do and some don't. So just to get a sense of what that looks like. Great. That's kind of what I expected. There's a good range of organizations do survey, and that will give you a sense of where you're at. Depends on what you're measuring in your survey. If you have a survey, really important that you are going back to your people and giving them feedback from the survey, and that will encourage them to participate in the future. And I can see that 38% of you don't. So that's probably why you're here. So in terms of the process and how it actually works, this one slide will really put it out in a simple process for you. We can turn this process around in 6 weeks. And at the core of what we do, as I say, is this employee experience survey. So before we launch this, we set up a call for you with our client success team, and they will look at the survey as a project. And in terms of pre-survey launch, they will help you with pre-survey communication and launch. The survey is typically held open for 2 weeks. So it's launched from Great Place to Work to each of your employees, colleagues, or teams, whatever title you give them, encouraging them all to respond. Generally, it takes people between 10 and 12 minutes to fill in the survey and complete that, and then their responses come back to us. And that is where we then have your data that we're ready to share with you. The next piece I touched on already is the culture brief, simply demographic information that we will use and help you use to profile your organization when you are certified. And then obviously, once we've gathered your data, we have your results, and what we want to do is to come back to you with that results and data and information and present that back to the senior team, and then help you cascade that through the rest of your team and wider organization. And then the final piece is recognition. So if you've met the threshold, then you are certified. And I will be coming on to exactly what that is. So in terms of the survey method and the methodology, just to give you a quick sense of this, the structure of the survey is such that in the main, we don't ask questions, we make statements. They're always positive. Everybody responding then has the option to respond on a choice of 1 to 5. Now, the response for 5 is almost always true, and the response for 4 is often true. So there's an example of a statement on the screen here. I'm proud to tell others I work here. And response 4, often true, and 5, almost true. Both of those are considered to be a positive response. So it's as simple as that in terms of we roll out the survey and people move through the selection of those statements, and it's the same metric that they're following all the time. There are some open-ended questions as well to capture comments, suggestions, and some feedback around why colleagues would recommend somebody in the future to join the organization. So in terms of certified, how do you get certified? Here it is. Being certified as a Great Place to Work is based purely on the results of the survey. So of the people who respond, and we're looking to get a majority response from the people in the organization, of the people who do respond, if you score 65% or above, then you're certified as a Great Place to Work. The opportunity here is that there's no deadline regarding certified. So you can go live with the survey when suits the rhythm of the business. As I say, we can turn the process around in 6 weeks from your client success and kickoff date, and turn it around in that time period. So then once you're certified, your certification is valid for 12 months. So it can run for that 12-month period. And then once you're certified, you have the opportunity then to be featured on our website, on our platform. And this is where the culture brief or the company brief is useful, because you've given us the headline information you want to share once you're certified. The big opportunity is for you as an organization to go in there as the year goes on and build out your employer story, your employer brand. So organizations use their top results from their survey, they collect statements and their score. They'll do colleague profiles, colleague testimonials, and actually post job roles in there. And it's really an opportunity for you to build out your employer story. And as I say, certification is valid for 12 months. Once you're certified, you're automatically then included for consideration in the relevant best workplaces categories. And the next piece is then around celebrating, I suppose, is celebrating your achievement and leveraging that. So once you're certified, you're automatically included for consideration in best workplaces. There's a number of best workplaces categories on the screen here. There's 2 sector lists that we have: best workplace in tech which is celebrated in May coming up, and Best Workplace in Pharma and Healthcare. We just celebrated that recently. And then the national list of best workplaces in Ireland and best workplaces for women in Ireland, both celebrated in February. So when you're engaging in 2024, what we're doing is gathering all the information in 2024 to celebrate and recognize best workplaces in 2025. So we're coming up to the deadline for 2024 now, and clients have been engaging with us right throughout the year for that. So you can see the range of opportunities there. We have the media partners in each of those lists to help you celebrate as well. And then activation of your achievement, as we would call it, or celebrating that. Why would you do this? Once again, it's marketing your employee value proposition, enhancing your story, and boosting your opportunity to build talent. So you've got the media there in terms of how you can leverage that. Different ways. Externally, for most organizations, think of first, I suppose. So we have some great client examples. Organizations find great ways to get the message out on the backs of buses, magazines, publications, all the digital platforms that you can use as well. You know, what shouldn't be forgotten, I suppose, is internal. That internal celebration that you are officially recognized as a great place to work is a huge boost internally. And Carol on the screen there did a fabulous LinkedIn post, bringing all the people together to celebrate that. So there's typically cakes and balloons involved. We do supply the opportunity to get a pack that will help you celebrate that internally as well, and use all the photographs that you can then use externally as well. But celebrating it internally, I suppose, is a great opportunity for leaders and teams to come together and to celebrate that piece. So our solutions, I suppose, just to cover these and to touch on them quite obviously, the survey feeds into action planning. So once we have your data, we can help you action plan, and that will feed into the culture consultancy part, along with the recognition and the employer branding. We do offer pulse surveys now as well. So there's the opportunity to do a trust pulse, or also to have a survey to measure the experience of new joiners. So there's a range of pulse surveys that you can choose from that will give you a quick temperature check as you go along through the year. So I just thought I would loop back a little bit here in terms of the survey, because what I mentioned was that there are always positive statements and people respond on the scale of 1 to 5. There's a range of statements in the survey, and what their focus is to capture and gather feedback on 17 actionable categories. So there's 17 areas that we capture here, and these are vital for delivering for the organization's success. We group them up into 3 big areas. So we talk first and foremost about achieving organizational objectives, and you can see on your screen there, and I will follow up with these slides as well. But underneath achieving objectives, we're measuring areas like communication and involvement, strategy and direction, empowerment and accountability. The next group then is people giving their personal best. So we're measuring in here talent management, career and development, recognition, work environment and processes, and then finally people working together as a team. So obviously, I suppose in there we're measuring diversity and inclusion, your culture, and we have benchmarks to support all of these areas and to give you feedback on those. So that's the areas and the categories that we're capturing the data on. Today, I wanted more to focus on what certified looks like, what the score is, and how you achieve the score. I have done some previous webinars, and we had Evelyn from Client Success on, one of our team here, talking in terms of the client success support that we deliver. Here's an example slide of what one area of the feedback session might look like. Importantly, in the survey, we're measuring trust, so we're giving you scores back around the trust dimensions and those 17 actionable categories as well. So that just gives you a sense of that. Now, in terms of what are we doing for time? In terms of questions that we had submitted along the way, when people were registering here, so the questions around about what does the journey look like, what does the process look like, where to start. So I touched on some of those as I was talking through there. So the journey in terms of the actual process is 6 weeks. The journey for the organization varies. We can meet you as an organization where you're at, whether you've done some work on this already, or whether you're a new startup organization or an organization that is just starting to look into the area. We will meet you where you're at and help you along the path. So in that regard, a lot of organizations will actually engage for 3 years, and they'll publicly, if you like, but internally position it with our people to say we're engaging with Great Place to Work with a view to being certified over the next 3 years. And that gives them the opportunity to set out that, look, we're working towards a fixed standard. We're not in competition with anybody else. We're working towards this fixed standard. So if we don't achieve it the first time around, that's okay. Then we will know what we need to work on in the future. So some specific questions around the survey. So it is called the TI survey, the Trust Index survey. Questions around that. How long is the survey held open? Typically 2 weeks. Time to complete takes on average 10 to 12 minutes for people to complete, depending on how many comments they write. Is it confidential? This is a really important question. If your people are not asking about confidentiality and anonymity, they're thinking about it. So what we're doing there is we're absolutely crystal clear that it is confidential, that it is anonymous, and we help you in the pre-survey communication with our client success team to have the communications in place to deliver that messaging, and really importantly, informing your managers before the survey goes live that they're well aware of the fact that the organization is engaging an external expert that is bringing in the survey and providing clarity and benchmark confidentiality. Response rate is always a question that comes up. So to cover that in general, I would say we need a majority response rate. We need to hear from the majority of people. In smaller organizations, and that means we're going to need percentage-wise to hear from a lot more people in the organization. As the organization grows and is bigger, we're able to take into account two areas, both response rate and confidence ratio. So confidence ratio is really the consistency of the responses, I suppose, is the best way to describe that. So if your confidence ratio is 95%, then you won't need to hear from as many people. But we will be very clear with you in that support call with client success and setting out what the expectation is and what that looks like. Another question came in around who manages it, who's responsible for this. Typically, I would say for organizations that have a HR team, they would probably be the point of contact that would manage it, but it's led by senior management, it's led by the leadership team that are giving it its vote of confidence and saying we're engaging. But in terms of the day-to-day running, the whole way we have the process set up now is that Great Place to Work are carrying the workload for the organization. There's very little resource demand or resource pull on your desk for the survey, because if you think about it, we're holding the client success call. We share the documentation around the company brief and the employee template, which is where we capture a map of the organization. And then we launch the survey. We monitor the survey. Somebody within the organization has access to see what the response rate looks like. So we're in touch during the survey process. We send an automatic reminder to people to let them, if they haven't responded, to remind them. So there's very little resource required there. The next area that came in with commonality that we kind of teamed up here was sharing of results. So how do you go about sharing results? What does that look like? If you think about this, once we have your data, this is leading into action planning. So the first step is sharing results back with the leadership team and discussing that feedback and getting into the action planning and a bit of over and back in terms of where do you start, where do you prioritize. Once that's decided, the steer we'd be giving is that senior management would be responsible for some of the areas, and there is an opportunity through collaboration then to share with the broader team, and that gives you the opportunity to cascade results throughout the organization. And then third area, costs, always an area that comes up, and we welcome that. The two big drivers around cost are people in the organization, the amount of people and the level of engagement that you want. So something actually I didn't touch on was certification. There is no size category attached to certification. So the idea is that you, I'd say, engage, get your score, and once you achieve 65%, you're certified. We don't identify size, but in terms of size of organizations, this is the driver around cost, and it is a category in best workplaces. So if you think about that, small workplaces ranges all the way from 20 people up to 100. A good mid-range investment figure for an organization is around €5,700. That can go up to 9,000. For a medium-sized organization, a good average figure is around 13,500. And a larger organization is 300 and above. So in that space, we're really building a bespoke engagement package for organizations, and we can work through what is most beneficial to the organization after the survey, getting into not just action planning, but workshops and culture consultancy and building that out. So I'm happy to, give some broad price indications there. It's hard for me to give an exact figure. Happier to pick that up on a one-to-one and go through in terms of follow up with you, and bring that to bear. The other question came up around access to more recognitions. So I think we have covered that in terms of best workplaces. So that's really all the questions that came in advance. I'm just going to jump in here quickly. It's an opportunity to attend something. Okay. So the minimum completion rate, Austin has asked there, and it's a good question. So that, this is really around the response rate and the confidence ratio. Again, Austin, it depends on the size of the organization. I think from your pre-survey question, you are in a large organization. So again, it's, you're probably around a 50-55% at a minimum with the confidence ratio in there. And can you be on more than one list? That's a very good question. Yes, you can. So typically, let's say in tech organization, you could be certified, then you could be on best workplaces in tech or best workplace in pharma if you're a pharma organization. I didn't get into best workplace for women too much, and probably should have. So best workplace for women requires a minimum of 50 employees in the organization. And then what we're doing is we're considering the responses of those identifying as women in the organization versus the scores in the overall organizational score, and seeing what the alignment is or the disparity is, and really getting into the space of it being a great place to work for all or for everybody, and not just a great place to work for one part of the organization. So there absolutely is an opportunity to be seen on more lists. Now, sorry, I had just checked Q&A window only, not the chat. So I see lots of questions in the chat, and cost, we've covered that. What do you do after 12 months? Good question. What you do is typically organizations are engaging in terms of they're running the survey, and then they're working on their data to action plan. So they're going to survey again, and that typically is within the next 12-month period. Do organizations have access to recommendations and benchmarking when we're certified? And yes, you do. You can get access to the benchmarks once we're delivering the data back to you. Now let me see. It's certification country by country. It is country by country. So the idea with certification is that I talked very much around with that, an Irish head on me here this morning, I suppose. For organizations that are global, the certification standard is uniform across the globe. So once you achieve 55% in each jurisdiction, there is the opportunity to be certified in each jurisdiction. And then what we're able to do is bring your data together and roll it up to be recognized in a more global way. Another question here: the GI survey is completed in May 2024 and we are successful. The certification is valid then for 12 months, correct? So let's say we complete the survey in May, and we have your data back to you. Let's say you're certified from June 2024 around to May 2025, and then you're included for consideration in Best Workplaces 2025. Question around UK-based employees. They would be included for certification in the UK. So you have an opt-in here. A lot of organizations will pilot surveys out of Ireland and then collect data for their footprint on a global basis. And depending on your headcount, you'll need a minimum of 12 people, typically 20 in some countries, to be certified in each location. Now, I was afraid this was going to happen. More questions are coming in, and I might not get to all of them. Cheetah, we might just launch that last little poll there while I answer these questions here, just to get a sense of where people are at. That would be great if we could get your feedback. And before we close out for time today, what we will do is we'll be following up this webinar with a quick questionnaire. We'll be following up with the slides, following up with the recording, and a link, I believe, for an opportunity for you to book some meeting time. So there'll be an opportunity for me to pick up on a one-to-one basis, and I will cover off absolutely all of these questions. I'm conscious of your time now, and I said in the beginning I was going to respect that. So any questions I haven't gotten to here, I will follow up on an individual basis once I can see who asked the question. So thanks very much for your time. I hope it's been useful and beneficial. Any feedback is welcome, and anything more we could have covered, I would love to hear from you. So thanks again for your time, and look forward to hearing from you soon. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.